Hi, I'm Mel McGee, founder and CEO of We Can Code It. And on today's Coding Diaries, our own Colleen Baldry interviews software engineer Matt Cowdery. We're going to learn about his transformative experience through We Can Code It's Coding Bootcamp, his background in the military, and how he has successfully overcome different challenges during coding bootcamp and in life to now call himself a software developer, software engineer. I'll let Colleen take it away.
My name's Colleen and I'm a marketing associate and I'm here with Matt, who is one of our Reskill graduates, and we're going to be talking about his experience at We Can Code It. So, getting started at the very beginning, can you tell me a little bit about your career and education background before attending We Can Code It?
Yeah, sure. So I graduated with my degree in computer science back in 2013, but I never really used it too much. So after I got out, I very briefly got together with some friends and we did try to start a business. I had some minors in business and entrepreneurship. So it was a good experience, but we were young, didn't work out. I eventually joined the military. Both my dad and my grandfather were in the military. So when I got in as what was called a CTR. I was just an analyst position. So I got my clearance and we worked at a skiff, and I worked as was called a perform analyst. So yeah, I did that for 4 years. I lived in Hawaii. I didn't go on a ship or anything. I was just shore duty. And after that 4 years was up, I left and I worked for Booz Allen Hamilton for a year. And they really liked the software. My experience as an analyst, I worked on a lot of the software we were developing as an analyst while I was in the military. That, along with my clearance, was something they were very interested in with me. So I worked with them for a year. I worked in Fort Meade, which is like the NSA headquarters. It was that big building there in Maryland, and it was very interesting. We worked on really interesting projects. Unfortunately, I had some clearance issues that kind of had me not really get on any team while I was there, and I did a lot of analyst stuff. So while I was there, I didn't really get into like the real programming side of things. Unfortunately, that clearance issues cost me my job, though. Eventually, it was part of my requirements was to maintain that, and I couldn't pass the polygraph. So that eventually made my career kind of go sideways a little bit, because I had a lot of experience built up within the military and at Booz in the analyst position, but I still was really, not far enough ahead. And it had been a long time since I had done really any software engineering. So that's how I got to We Can Code It. I got on with We Can Code It, and I just wanted something to kind of refresh myself and just give me the experience that I knew I really needed. I couldn't just jump into a software engineering job again, even a junior level position. So We Can Code It was fantastic for that. I had a great time. It was great, especially getting that experience working on a team. Like, that's really important in software engineering. And I feel like that was really great. So yeah, that was the gist
Okay.
of it. I think that was all the questions you had. But
Oh, yeah, totally. Thank you for sharing. So, you would say you had a little bit of background in tech, and do you feel as though before you were attending We Can Code It, there were things that you learned that were almost outdated, or new things that you touched upon during your reskill experience that you did not learn before?
um, so it's new things that I didn't know, when I was going through computer science. I mean, when I got my computer science degree before. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so almost when you had your previous education and then you had the break and then you went and started the boot camp. Do you feel as though there were a bunch of new things and kind of stuff that's updated in the tech industry that was almost surprising to you?
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. But whenever I got my degree, their HTML5 hadn't come out yet. And so a lot of things were very familiar to me. But yeah, a lot of it I just needed to go and understand the new stuff and things like flex boxes in CSS. Those things weren't there. And I was like, oh wow, this is so great compared to like what we were doing back then. So yeah, there was a lot of little things like that were really beneficial. Let me think. I did some C sharp in college too, and I would say most of the things that I saw in there were familiar to me, but I'm sure that. Oh yeah, I guess not. Uh, I can't think of the name right now, but yeah, there was quite a few things. Yeah, that was kind of brand new to me.
Okay, very good to know. So, what made you decide on We Can Code It as opposed to other coding boot camps?
So the VA Vet Tech, they have a program called Vet Tech, and you guys were one of the few that supported it, especially nearby. I live about like 50 minutes an hour away from, and so this was really nice to have something close by that the Vet Tech sponsored. So yeah, that was definitely one of the biggest reasons. But I did my research. I looked into a lot of things, and I really liked the program. And C sharp was something that was also something that was important to me because I wanted to get into things like Unity and stuff, even if it, just I kind of want to do the C sharp thing because I have a brother that works in the video game industry for Blizzard, and we talked a lot about doing some like side projects, and so getting into C sharp development was kind of another reason why I chose this program specifically.
Oh, very cool. So, did you guys work on any projects together actually while you were learning?
No, actually, I would say that the boot camp, takes up a lot of your time, so it's hard to fit in like a bunch of side projects. Although I would say that's part of the reason, part of like just how I approached the boot camp. I went extra on pretty much everything, um, and did probably more on the projects just because I wanted to get the experience in. And I felt like okay, I was maybe I had a little bit of advantage compared to some of the people who were just kind of brand new to it. So to me, it was really important just to go the extra mile and do as much as I can, and then help out other people and things like that, rather than just do the bare minimum for each project. So,
Sure. Can you share a specific project or experience during your reskill experience that you found particularly valuable?
well, I would say, going back to what I said before, I think the working in a team was really valuable. Um, like I said, that's really important in software engineering, and just going through some of the ups and downs that go along with that, learning how to like communicate with other people, like what are you thinking, as opposed to like when you're working by yourself you can just do things, but when you're working with other people you have to figure out just how to communicate what you're thinking, and sometimes sell your ideas a little bit, and sometimes learn to just back off a little bit, and just say okay, that's not really an important thing, and just learn to work together with other people. So I thought that was both the fun part, but also the part that was very valuable in learning to handle and stuff. So
Amazing. So it seems to me like you really utilized your team and you guys really worked together to solve problems. Can you share a time when you encountered a particularly difficult problem at We Can Code It or a project you were working on where you were struggling and how you approached the solution?
sure, yeah, I know there was one instance where, and most of my experience was with other people were fantastic. I thought I still talk with a lot of the people, but there was one instance where I did have a little bit of a dispute with one of the members of my team, and a part of it was as someone who had a lot more experience than the other members of the team, I kind of took a leadership position, and I wanted everybody to just sort of communicate, because I know some people were kind of quiet. And so I told other people that, hey, I want you guys to speak up and just not be afraid to just voice your opinion and argue with me, because I think that, you know, I don't want to control every aspect of the project, and I really wanted other people to get their ideas. Unfortunately, someone had kind of maybe taken that a little too far and started getting very argumentative with me, and so I had to figure out how to dial down the situation and make sure that, you know, we're in this together, and make sure that, you know, no feelings were hurt, and learn how to maybe communicate, you know, certain things in that situation a little bit better. So that's what we did. You know, we cooled our heads off a little bit, and we talked it out, and we were able to just figure it out internally. And I don't think from that point on it was too much of a problem. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of maybe a small thing, but I thought it was pretty valuable for us, just learning how to deal with that. So
Yeah, well, that is a small thing. It is something that happens in real life all the time when we're working in teams and when we have jobs in the real world. Speaking of having jobs in the real world, can you tell me a little bit about your job search process and how that went for you while you were completing boot camp?
yeah, so I thought the career services things were very valuable to me, and some of the things I learned there. I picked some things up because I had already gone through job searches in the past whenever I, you know, had graduated from college, and also whenever I was getting out of the military and I got hired at Booz Allen. So I had some experience doing this already, but I picked up some important things from the career services that I thought was very valuable. Now, my approach in the past had been to like just really, you know, think of it like marketing, and just flood your resume out there as much as possible and do as many applications as possible. And I think that's still valuable, but I learned how to be a little bit more, take my time a little bit more, especially with positions that I really want. I mean, really try to figure out ways how to stand out and not just turn out, you know, as many resumes as possible. So I used a lot of the tools that they suggested, like LinkedIn, and just little kind of small techniques that were pretty valuable, I thought, and finding and really utilizing the ability to reach out and find, you know, talk to people that were actually working at those companies, and just try to get relationships with that. In the end, I do think when I got hired at Ball Aerospace, which I don't think I mentioned that earlier, that's where I'm working at currently. But when I had at Ball Aerospace, um, that was that I didn't really reach out on it with anybody specifically. I think I just did a really good interview with them, but that was partly because I still had sent out a lot of resumes, and that's what I told to a lot of my friends that are still looking for jobs, that you just got to put out, just got to keep putting things out and not get discouraged. It's really a mental game, because sometimes you'll have, you know, places that you do a really good interview, but they're just not a good fit, right? You don't have all of the little things that they might be looking for, and other places may have it. So you just got to keep putting out those resumes and not get discouraged whenever you see an email saying that we're not you know, we're not interested in you or whatever. So yeah, just keep putting them out, and eventually you're going to find a good fit. And it's a hard job market right now, so you have to try extra hard. So that was probably my experience, you know, just putting out a bunch of resumes. Try not to just be too lackadaisical with, like, you still got to do cover letters and stuff, but you just got to put the work in. So not get discouraged. So that's basically what I thought about it.
Yeah, that's awesome advice. Thank you for sharing. So, you would say that based on your skill sets, you are a great fit for your job now. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing in your job now?
Yeah, so I work at Ball Aerospace, so they've hired me as associate software engineer. Um, they're not the stack we're doing right now. So basically, um, uh, we work on a project called GC3, which is ground control communications command. And or basically it's a contract, we're contractors for the government. And that we're contracted out to a specific department called the Space RCO, Space Rapid Capabilities Office. And they do like 3 to 5 year contracts with bigger departments like NASA, like the Space Force, like the Air Force, for ground control systems. So so whether that be like space vehicles or just regular aircrafts. So what we do is we sort of create the common ground software that's kind of important for all types of ground control systems. And then Space CRCO takes that and they sort of tailor it to specific things like NASA and so forth. And so we do a lot of things that are like in microservices, event-driven architecture, very agile type stuff, and a lot of DevOps type things like CI/CD, and working with Docker and Kubernetes. As I always say, as a software developer, you're really like language agnostic, right? So if you software engineering, and you should be able to learn other languages. And so that's what I really tried to sell myself at the interview. I have a background in working with government contracting, so that was definitely, a big plus for me. I did have some kind of background in DevOps a little bit. Like I didn't know a lot of it, but I was at least familiar with it, so that helped me. I also told one of the big questions they asked me is, what are you interested in doing? Like, what is your career goals, that you want to develop into? And I told them that I was very interested in data. I loved working in data, networking, like as in like AI engineering or machine learning or data science. That's kind of the direction that I love doing and working in. And so they had an opening of position on the data services team. So that's where they put me. So yeah, that's kind of how that worked out.
Wow, what an inspiring story Matt had. I hope you gained something from it and learned about his transformation and even some of the struggles he had. Hopefully it will inspire you to make a change in your life and in your career. If you're interested in using We Can Code It to make that change, whether it be coding or other tech programs, give us a call, 844-932-2626. Visit us on the web at wecancodeit.org and learn more about our award-winning programs or email admissions@wecancodeit.org.